Hey, it's the Tech Time Traveler, and today we're gonna go snap. Hey everybody, it's well, I guess it's February 2025. It's been a little while since I released my last video in December. Apologize for that. It has been really crazy busy in my personal life, especially with my day job, which has consumed a lot of time due to a lot of projects that came down at the end of last year. Another thing, obviously, is this 1966 school bus that I purchased as a YouTube studio space, as well as a gaming emporium. I purchased this back in September, and it has taken me this long to get it to a state where I could actually try filming something in it. Just figuring out things like lighting and sound and also movement, because if you move too much in this bus, the camera moves. So I've just been kind of figuring all of that out. You'll notice I've got this table here, which is actually the door that came with the bus that used to be part of the bathhouse that this thing was attached to. I basically just built a frame for it. I still have some things I want to fix. I want to get rid of my softbox lights, which take up way too much room, and get some flat panel LEDs. And then I want to construct something for an overhead camera and stuff like that. But, that's future type stuff. I think for now, I'm happy with the way things are, and I can just start filming, and this is kind of what we're doing here. Another thing that's actually slowed down production a bit is the weather. This has been an typical winter. And what I mean by that is, in the last few years, Mother Nature has generally been going easy on us, and we haven't had the super rainy West Coast type winters that we have in British Columbia. This winter has gone back to the norm, and what we've had is just like weeks and weeks of continuous hard pouring rain day after day. And because of the way that the bus is positioned next to my house, and the potential for things getting wet as I'm trying to fight my way into the doors, I just decided that I wasn't going to move things until we had a stretch of good weather, and I had to wait a long time for that to happen. And then on top of that, we've had snow, which I thought we were going to skip this year because it would have been mostly staying above 5 to 8 degrees Celsius right through December. We didn't have any snow for Christmas this year. Yeah, we got a dump at the beginning of January, and then we got another dump last week. Like, it's just nuts. And unfortunately, my radiator heater here, which can normally keep up with temperatures down to 0 degrees Celsius, when it starts getting to like -10, -15, it starts to struggle a little bit, and it's not really fun to film in here. So anyway, that's the story on my production issues, which I'm hoping now will start to smooth out a little bit. Now this video, I'm going to warn you, it was filmed at different times. It was filmed right as Christmas ended, and then I had to break for a couple weeks because I was out traveling and visiting family. And then I came back, and I thought this was just going to be kind of a quick show and tell type video. But it turned out to be a really deep rabbit hole, and I'm glad it did, because I got a much better result out of this thing than I was expecting. So you're gonna see a whole bunch of stuff. There's some things that are not quite congruous here. Like, for example, this floppy drive, which has a camera card reader in it, is definitely not the original drive that was in this thing when I started. And yeah, there's just stuff like that going on. Anyway, this is our subject matter for today. This is the Datavue Snap 1+1. It came out in 1988, at least by the very limited documentation I was able to find online. There's one article about it, and that's all I've been able to find at all. I think Datavue is one of those companies that it kind of sounds really familiar just because it has the word data in the name, but I don't think that they were around for super long, and I don't think they produced a ton of product or models. There's this one, and then the only other one I've seen is called the Spark. Now, they do seem to be pretty high quality machines. I mean, the keyboard is awesome. It's an Alps unit. It types really nicely. You've got a full number pad. It's kind of not in the best place, but at least you have it. The build quality is solid. It doesn't feel cheap like some of the earlier portables do. But the thing that's really neat about this one is that it's actually a two-piece. And right over here, you can see we've got these locking screws. And according to the one article I read, what's supposed to be possible is this separates and becomes like a sub notebook that runs on flash memory. Now, without giving too much away, I can't tell you whether it can or can't do that. You'll just have to watch the video to see. But suffice it to say, it's an interesting twist on the x86 portable. And you may hear me accidentally use the word laptop. I'm just so used to using that word, but it is a portable. It is not a true laptop. I don't think you'd want to put something this heavy on your lap. The CPU on this thing was an NEC V20, so it was an 8088 technically. It ran at 4.77 megahertz, or you could turn it up to, I guess, what they consider to be turbo mode, which is 9.5, or as Datavue rounded up here to 10 megahertz. It came with 640 kilobytes of RAM standard, and then I think you could expand it all the way up to a megabyte and a half or 2 megabytes or something like that via some expansion boards. So yeah, I mean, it was decent. It has 720K floppy drive at the back in the expansion unit there. You could have a second 720K drive on the other side, or you could get a 20 megabyte hard drive. And then the retail cost on this thing was, I think, about $2,200 US to start at the low end. And then for a fully fitted out machine, I think it was around $4,200. So yeah, not exactly the cheapest portable computer out there. I don't think it would have been considered a powerful computer in 1988 because by then the 386 was out. But as a portable, maybe it was competitive that way. I don't remember where we were at with portables at that particular juncture. But you know, it's a nice, well put together machine. The fit and finish on this thing is really, really nice. I mean, even though this separates, it feels absolutely rock solid. But yeah, I'll give you the grand tour here. This is the back. We've got a power adapter. I'm not really sure what this second one is for. I don't know if there's like two different styles of power adapter available, but like the one that I have here, the one that it came with is this big guy, and yeah, it's huge. And it's got an adapter that looks like this on the end, so it fits there. So I don't know what this other barrel jack is for. We've also got this port at the back, which I think is a proprietary expansion port. I doubt it would be a joystick adapter or anything like that. We've also got an expansion slot we can plug stuff into. I don't see anything there, so yeah, somebody didn't spend any money on that. On the other side here, we have our power button. We've got a RGB connector and composite out. I'm pretty sure this is going to be CGA. It might be EGA. We'll hook it up to the Tandy CM11 that I have in the bus here and see what we get. I believe that's a parallel port. And then over on the other side, yeah, we've got a contrast knob, and we've got a 25-pin serial port. We've got a reset button. And then this is where an optional modem would go, but there's nothing in there at the moment. And then this is our floppy drive, which I think is 720K. I could be wrong on that. And then, I don't know, I guess this isn't a, yeah, this is probably another expansion port of some sort. The screen, as I mentioned, is 80 by 25, kind of a standard weird aspect ratio monitor that you would have gotten on most of these laptops from that era. But it is backlit, which is nice, and it's fully detachable because Datavue, like IBM with the PC convertible, offered different screen options. And so you could just pull this out like so. There were a few different options for screens. I think they had a red plasma screen type thing. They also had a non-backlit version of this. Yeah, so that's the screen. We can see that it's starting to suffer a little bit from age-related defects. There's these kind of diagonal, they look like scratch marks, but I think it's actually the plastic or something that's over the LCD panel just starting to pull away. And then also we've got some fringing around the edges here, which I've seen a lot on these older backlit LCDs from this era where they just start, I don't know if they're leaking or something, but yeah, they starts to form basically a frame around the entirety of the screen. And then they start kind of going dim and very light in the middle. So I don't know how well this is going to work, but hopefully if it doesn't work so well on its own monitor, it'll work okay on the Tandy CGA monitor that I have right nearby here. Now, the name Snap kind of implies that it would snap apart, right? But this is kind of looking like a little bit of a misnomer because I don't see anything here that just snaps off. It looks like it's actually got some screws that you have to undo to get this thing apart. And it actually says on the top here, a warning, loosen screws completely to avoid breakage when separating the front and back units. So I guess we'll try that. Let's just see what happens. Because I'm curious to see what this part looks like in the back there. I mean, it's not a big ask to unscrew these, but it is kind of not in keeping with what they've advertised, I think. And then we'll pop these over here. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can pull this thing apart. I know you want to come apart, you son of a... Whoop, there we go. All right. Look at that. So yeah, we've got some additional parts in the back here. Now, this is a memory card slot. I wonder if it's got an actual memory card in it. I hope so, because it'd be kind of useless without that. So you don't have your floppy drives. There we go. All right, is there a memory card in there? No, there is not. Dang it. Now, one thing I'm not seeing is I'm not seeing a way to plug in power when it's disconnected. And I don't feel like there's a battery in there. Like, I don't feel any weight. It's pretty close to, you know, what a sub notebook would look like, I guess. It's just a little bit chunky. But yeah, there's no power. I mean, it's got a low battery light, but I just don't see where the batteries would go. Maybe if we open the modem slot here, we could see something. Yeah, I don't see any batteries in there. So what the heck does this thing actually run on? Yeah, I see absolutely nothing that resembles a battery whatsoever, nor anywhere where you could actually put one. So, I wonder if maybe it had a battery pack or something that plugged on to the end here. And then the back half here has got your... Well, I think there's a hard drive in here. I think there is. I don't know, this is starting to feel like a low option kind of machine. There's the floppy drive. I feel like there must be a hard drive because there's a fair bit of weight there. Anyway, I'm going to temporarily put it back together here and we'll just see what it does, if anything. Okay, so I'm just going to snap this back together. Kind of align it precisely, but yeah, no, it does kind of snap back together okay. That part of the snap name kind of lives up to its billing. It's in the back there. And we'll just turn it on. Well, that makes some noise. Are we getting anything? The screen's definitely in. I'm just gonna check the back. I'm worried about those connectors on the back. I might need to actually do a cleaning on those. Let's just double check everything here. Just worried about that connector. It looked kind of gross. I'll just see what happens. I'm thinking my disconnection of this thing was probably the first time it's been disconnected in like eons. And we may have just gotten some dirt into the contacts, or I'm not sealing it properly or something. Yeah, I think that looks a little better. Okay, that's one side. Now to the other side. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. I'll just wait for that to dry off a little bit, and then we'll see if that helps our situation. And I might just re-engage the locks after all, just to make sure that it's going to be stable. So there's the two halves. And again, we're going to mate them back together. That certainly feels pretty good. It doesn't kind of like, there's not an authoritative snap or anything when you're putting it back together, so it's kind of subjective as to whether it's got good contact there. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay, so I've got it set up here. I'm just gonna see kind of what it does first before we start digging into the guts of it here. So I'll just turn on and whatever happens, happens. Okay, so we got a fan, it's making some noise. It jumped to this screen really quick, but I think I saw something about configuration there, so I'm just gonna hit reset. Any key to reconfigure the system. Oops, I missed it. That's very quick. Okay, I've hit a key, now hit R to reconfigure the system. So we got a bunch of options here. RAM disk is active. I'm assuming I just enter my way through those. Boot from RAM disk. Does this contrast fix anything? Ouch, yeah, no, this screen's totally knackered. It's not gonna get better. We've also got a line right there, which is not a good sign. Pretty much all of these screens that I've come across from this era of laptop history tend to be like this. They're just kind of falling apart one at a time. Use pre-selected RAM disk size. Sure. Reserve 24K screensavers. Skip ROM RAM check at power on. Use normal video something on light at power on. Dark on light. Oh, I see. So that's, we could reverse this, I guess, and make it like what we have in the bar there. Use a 477 megahertz CPU clock. We have an option down here to change it to 9.54, which is coprocessor not installed. As far as I know, it's not installed. Or use external video card, EGA, etc., which would probably be plugged into that expansion port, but we don't have that. 2 floppy drives attached. No, we want 0 or 1. And that's kind of it. Make RAM disk active. Okay, so we're gonna quit. I don't see any option to save anything. Okay, so we're back to this screen. Now I do have a MS-DOS 5 boot disk in there, and I'm hoping that's gonna work. I made it with my Toshiba 3200 laptop that I have kicking around. Yeah, I don't think we're going anywhere there. I'm just going to check the disk here. What's in? Okay, let's Control-Alt-Delete. Doesn't respond to that. Let's try a restart. Thank goodness for that little reset button. Okay. Okay, that doesn't seem to be helping. Seem to be in the same boat. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, let's try another disk. Okay, we're plugged in. Let's see what happens with this disk. Nope, we're not even trying at this point. Okay, well, I think this is pretty good evidence that we've got some issues with hardware on this machine. Number one, I'm not hearing anything that sounds like a hard drive spinning up when it starts up. That sound is definitely from the fan. I just checked it by ear. But I think what we'll do is we'll proceed to disassembly, because that'll give me an opportunity to take apart the floppy drive a little bit and just check the condition of it, give the heads a cleaning, all the standard stuff you would do with a floppy drive, just make sure the motors and everything are working. Anyway, let's move on to disassembly and see what exactly is in this thing. Oh, hi, officer. What's going on? This isn't about the bus not having brakes, taillights, headlights, emergency brake, emergency door, or anything like that, is it?
No, it's not about that, sir. Sorry to bother you at this hour, but I'm afraid I may have some bad news. It's about your microphone.
My microphone?
Does your microphone go by the name Rode, sir?
Yes, it does. Why?
Sir, I regret to inform you that your microphone has died.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
It appears he intentionally interfaced his USB-C cable with an iPhone lightning jack and, well, I'm afraid he's left this world, sir.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we found a suicide recording on its flash memory.
What the?
Said your repair videos are boring as hell, sir.
Damn it.
Said he told you that if you said the words, basically, or so yeah one more time, that'd be it for him. I guess he meant it.
He seemed fine during the taping.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, sir. The coroner is sending the body back to Australia. Maybe try Alexa next time. I hear she'll listen to anything.
Okay, so we are on day 2 in the bus here, and I realize this is a little bit of a jump cut. And it's because I was recording last night, and unfortunately my ever-reliable Rode Wireless Go 2 mics decided to quiet quit right in the middle of the video. I just decided I'm just gonna start from scratch here. I did capture the video, so I'll try and walk you through it as best I can from memory. So basically what we did yesterday was we took the back half of the snap off, which was something that we needed to do in order to get access to the floppy drive, which I was hoping to remove and just test because I know the disk that I put in there is good. It should be booting from it, but it's saying it's a non-system disk. It's possible that there's a very specific system disk that the Snap expects, because this whole Datavue situation seems to be a little bit non-standard in some ways. But I kind of think it's probably an issue with the drive, so I wanted to get the drive out and test it separately of the machine and just make sure it's good, maybe clean the heads and stuff, you know, the usual stuff that you would do. And then the other thing I wanted to do is verify that there was a hard drive. So the first thing I did is I removed all the screws. I broke the warranty label, which appeared to be intact and undisturbed. So my guess was that nobody had been in here in a while. And there was a little bit of fussing around to get it apart, but I eventually got everything separated and exposed the little mini motherboard that's inside here, which is interesting because it has what looks like an ISA slot, and it also seems to have the controllers for a floppy and a hard drive. And indeed, there was a hard drive installed right beside the floppy drive, as I thought. And I thought from that point forward, it should be pretty straightforward, right? I just got to find out what the hard drive model number is, and then I can figure out if it's working or not. But I ran into a problem, and that is that the cable that was attached to this thing is a 50 pin. And normally that would make me think, okay, this must be a SCSI drive. But the thing that's weird, and I reviewed the footage twice just to be sure, there was nothing plugged into this power header over here. And normally there would be something plugging in to give it power, right? Not plugged in at all. I also did some searching online. I was expecting to easily find information about this drive, but I couldn't. There's just nothing there. The only thing I could find kind of suggested it might be an MFM, and so this is kind of a custom setup, kind of a one cable wonder for some reason, and maybe the power that the drive needs is going through this cable. So that's where things sit right now, and I'm not really sure how to proceed because I don't want to just go and plug in power to this adapter. I'm sure probably it's not going to cause a problem, but if this drive has been jumpered or wired in a way that it's expecting to receive the power from this cable, I really don't want to do anything that might potentially light it up. So we can take a look at the controller board here. I'm gonna have to remove this plate to have a really good look at it. But you can see that basically there's a header for the floppy drive. There's a power header here. All these are labeled CN, and this is going to the charge port for the AC adapter. And then we also have a header here for the floppy. And then we've got this mystery header, which has a jumper installed in it, which is kind of weird. There was no cable. There was nothing with wires thick enough to be hard drive cable, so I'm not really sure what the heck is going on here. I would have thought that to power a drive like this, you'd need those heavier gauge wires, right? Because if this is an MFM drive, they usually take a fair bit of power to get spun up. But yeah, that's the only place I can see where it might have potentially plugged into, but it's got a jumper stuck right over here. And I doubt they designed a adapter that would plug in beside a jumper like that, right? These clips would usually be the thing that the adapter clips to. So my best guess on this right now is somehow the power is passed through here. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna start with here is I'm just gonna take the screws off this shielding so we can see what's underneath there. And then I think I'm gonna grab my multimeter and we'll just test and see if there's any voltage pins that connect to this 50 pin connector here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is much more involved than I was thinking it was going to be. Okay, so there is the FDD unit board, and this is where we have more system RAM, which I think is used as flash RAM. And yeah, this is where it plugs in here. You can see it's quite corroded, dirty, whatever that is. I don't know what this stuff is. All right. Yeah, there's definitely 12 volts going out to the pins on the far side here. So it looks to me like we've got basically 25 pins across times 2. And you can see we go out to here, and then there are 5 that are separate and that are close to this big thick trace here. So if you subtract 5 from 25, you get 20. 20 times 2 is 40. So I'm thinking this is probably something like an IDE connector for the first 40 pins, and then the remainder is for power. So this thing should be drawing power off that cable. So yeah, we got to be really careful about the orientation of this cable, because if we get it wrong... Okay, so did a little bit more research and consultation online, and it appears that this may be an actual XT IDE hard drive. So that's kind of cool. That's a unusual thing, and this is just a laptop full of unusual things. I think I'm going to move to the floppy disk here and try and figure out what the deal is with that. Okay, what do we got going on here? Yeah, so Matsushita JU253A02. Okay, so let's open up the case here so that we can see what is inside this thing. I just want to give the heads a quick clean just to make sure all that's sort of normal. Yeah, I mean, that's super clean. Holy cow. And the heads don't look too bad to me. It's kind of hard to show it on camera here, but yeah, they don't look dirty at all. Okay, that's pretty clean. Okay, so I've got the laptop all connected basically here. I've left the back piece off. I've disconnected the fan because I think the fan is making the majority of the noise, and I want to hear if the hard drive is actually spinning up or doing anything. So yeah, we're going to fire it up here and see what happens. And I believe it will boot with the lid closed, which is how I have it right now. I just don't want to block the camera. Okay, so it looks like it's initializing. Yeah, no, I mean the head's moving, but it's just not recognizing the disk that's in there as a system disk. So one other thing I should mention, which is just a weird instance of universal coincidental timing. As I was filming this video, somebody on Facebook messaged me to say, hey, there's a fellow that responded to a post that you made about your Datavue Snap quite a while ago. And he just posted in the last couple of weeks and said that he had a manual for it. And I was like, oh, so I went to the VC Fed forum and I immediately messaged him, and he actually sent me the full manual for the Datavue Snap, which is awesome. And then on top of that, he was willing to send me an image of an original Datavue DOS boot disk. That was something I desperately needed. Now, the manual is not as detailed as you would hope. It doesn't have a lot of technical information about the laptop. In fact, in the very first few pages, it makes it very clear that it's been dumbed down to not overwhelm the casual user with technical jargon. So there's a lot of questions about the machine, unfortunately, that kind of go unanswered in there. Another interesting thing in the manual is that it mentions the memory expansion board, which appears to be necessary for the front half of the machine to operate without the back half. Apparently the board has memory and a battery. So that'll be something I'll be looking for online, but yeah, fortunately we don't have that. Okay, so I think we can reasonably conclude after testing that this drive is not working. I actually took it into my house and played around with it on my Pentium 3 machine. The gentleman who was kind enough to scan a copy of the Datavue manual also offered to give me a boot disk image from his laptop, which is the same as this one. And of course I jumped on that and wrote the image to this disk, verified that I could boot off of it with other drives and other computers, no problem there. But it didn't work in the Snap with this drive. So we know it's not looking for something specific. The error message is kind of a red herring. And this drive, unfortunately, I'm not an electronics engineer and I don't have the capability of diagnosing something like this. It's probably an alignment issue or something if I had to guess. It's very clean inside, like it looks like it's hardly been used. But unfortunately, there's not much I can do to fix that. So I went looking through the house for a replacement drive and I found this one. I don't have as many drives as I thought I did. I thought I had piles of them around somewhere, but I've been kind of purging them over the years. And because, you know, I didn't really think I'd have any use for like 500 floppy drives from old machines that I had upgraded. So this is kind of all that's left. Yeah, it does look a little modern with the camera card reader here, especially for a laptop from 1988. And it's got the annoying pigtail here with the USB header, which is going to go nowhere in that laptop because there are no USB headers. But at least it will give me the ability to test. It is a 5-volt drive. Some of the other drives that I came across were 12 volt and 5 volt, so they weren't going to work in this thing because it doesn't supply that. If all goes well, we might have some luck getting this hard drive working. I did kind of fool around with this last night. I was trying to power it up. It wasn't doing much of anything. So I'm not too hopeful, which sucks because, you know, something rare like this is really cool, but it's also going to be really hard to find a replacement for. I kind of did some eBaying last night and I'm not seeing any of these for sale anywhere. So we may be out of luck on this one. What I usually will try to do if I suspect that the spindle is stuck is just kind of shake it, rotating it a little bit like this. Sometimes that will get it loose. I don't want to get too much rougher than that though. I could open it. I've done that on my Mitsubishi laptop, which has a mini scribe drive. You've seen the video where I did that. And I actually just forcibly start spinning it and it starts working. But probably that's not a good idea. I'm sure it does do long-term damage to the platters and the drive eventually dies anyway. But we'll just try, you know, just a gentle shake like this, see if that gets us anywhere, and we'll just kind of go from there. Okay, so first thing we're going to do here is hook up this hard drive again. Obviously, because there's power being passed on this cable, we need to be very careful about the pin orientation. Pin 1 is over here, so I've got to make sure that that lines up like so. I just gave it a couple gentle kind of twirls, I guess would be the way to put it. I have no idea if that's going to help. It probably won't, but we'll see what we get. I'm going to leave the floppy drive off for now, just so that it's not obstructing our view of this thing, and we'll just see what happens. Excuse my reach here. Oh, okay. Definitely sounds like it's trying to spin up. It doesn't look like the laptop's doing anything though. Huh, well that's more than what we had before, and that was just from some gentle shaking around the axis like this, just kind of twisting it. So I can definitely hear, obviously it's spinning up, and I can hear the heads trying to initialize there, so that's kind of a good sign. Okay, so I'm gonna move this over here, and we're gonna hook up our temporary floppy drive with the camera card reader, which is totally useful in 1988. Okay, so I've got the hard drive and the floppy drive connected at the back there. They're just lying loose on the table. I'm just gonna fire it up. I'm gonna have to change the configuration to detect that the hard drive is there. I just realized I didn't do that last time, so that was kind of dumb. So we'll start this up. Hit a key, hit R, go down, 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 down. Internal hard disk is installed, number 1. And then we're gonna do quit. Okay, and we're just gonna trust and hope that this thing's gonna start. Nothing too promising so far. Oh, here we go. No, I don't think anything's happening there. So what we'll do then is we will restart. And this time I'll put the boot disk in, and hopefully it will boot from that. Okay, initialize the drive. I think we might be waiting a while here on the hard drive. It's not a good sign though. Yeah, it seemed to be hung. I think it's trying to talk to the drive, but it's just not getting anywhere. All right. I wonder if it's getting stuck at trying to boot off the flash drive. Let's just see, maybe if I turn that off. Maybe that's our issue. Okay, so we're going to do not boot from RAM disk. Thank you. That seems to have been the trick. So I'll just see if it boots first, and then I'll hook up the drive again and see if we get anywhere. I'm not sure which of the two disks this is because I didn't label them. So that's version 6. Okay, so we know that DOS 6 does in fact work with this. We don't need special boot disks. Yada, yada, yada. All right, so I'll take that down, shut this off. I'm gonna reconnect the hard drive, taking care to make sure I get the pins the right way. I've removed the boot disk, so we're just waiting to see if it's gonna do anything. I can hear the heads moving a little bit, but not too hopeful. Yeah, this is just taking too long. Nope. Okay, I'll try a reset. It's weird that it doesn't want to boot again after it fails, even if you Control-Alt-Delete. It's definitely trying to talk to that hard drive. Alright, there's Datavue. And we've got a clock. Okay, well, we're at drive A. Let's see if it can go to drive C. Nope. That's not working at all. I'll try F disk and see what happens here, but no, it's not reading it. Dang it. Well, at least we know it can boot. That's good news. But unfortunately, the hard drive is not Compos Mentis. Okay, so we're on to the next segment of this video here. It's actually been about 3 weeks since I started this project, which was supposed to be just a quickie video out before I took off to the east for a couple weeks. But yeah, it's turned out to be quite a bit more than that, evidenced by the mess all over my new old desk here. So yeah, that's just kind of how life works sometimes. Anyway, where we left off was we got the machine booting up off of a floppy drive I found in a pile. The drive has a camera card reader, which isn't exactly aesthetically proper for this machine, but it does boot off of it. So we know the computer part is capable of working. And then we have the hard drive, which in the last segment was not booting up at all, no matter what I did. So I'm not too hopeful that we're going to do any better today, but I've plugged it in just to try one more time. You never know. Hard drives are funny beasts. And I'm going to turn this thing on and we'll just see what we get here. And then we'll take it from there. Maybe I'll hook it up to my external monitor and we can have a look at, you know, how it performs with software, some bench tests, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here we go. Oh, it actually spun up. What the hell? And it actually sounds almost normal. Alrighty. It's not actually going to boot. I heard that little sound. Holy shit, it's actually booting. It's actually starting up. That's... what? This thing was dead. Like, I tried over and over again. I probably spent like the better part of 4 hours trying to start this thing up with various tricks that I knew. And it would not work. And literally, I've just come back to the shop, I plugged it in, and okay, well, I'm glad that worked. That's awesome. So, yeah, we're gonna have a hard time kind of seeing what is on screen here because this LCD is failing pretty hard. But yeah, we've got some kind of a menu system here. It says data reel And we've got a whole bunch of functions like write, file, reports, doctor data, I don't know what that is, write data utilities, spreadsheet graphics, what else we got? Telecommunications, access tax rolls, MLS, real estate, accounting, desktop publishing, what does that say? Other MISC programs, backup, and other DOS. And you can see here it's sitting at a C prompt, so it's not actually like a program. This is basically just somebody's batch file display here, and you basically are going to hit a key and it's going to call up a batch file that matches those letters. But I mean, still, like, that's I did not expect that to happen. I guess we're going to get some digital archaeology here, so yeah, let's dig into that. Let's see what word processor is. Each day make it a challenge to do your best, live your best, for today will be tomorrow, and tomorrow will be something that just disappeared. Yeah, inspirational quotes. I've never seen this program before in my life. We'll try type edit. Okay, so this is somebody's custom word processor. Yeah, I mean, it's basic, but it works. Let's SG. Yeah, it's got all these inspirational quotes every time you open something. Intelligent Data Inc. That might give us some information. Twin Classic, what the hell is this? Okay, it's a spreadsheet, that makes sense. Except I can't highlight anything. Okay. Now I do kind of wonder, you know, this is a monochrome screen, so maybe it's not showing us everything. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here, and I don't know how to get out of this. Okay, I'm gonna restart. That's amazing. Like, I had no idea that was gonna work. That is amazing. That's, yeah. And now, of course, I have the quandary of, like, what do I do with it, right? I'm gonna archive the data, obviously, but after that, the problem with these kind of marginal hard drives is, like on this machine, as you've seen, it's not easy to get at. So if it seizes up again, I'm probably not gonna be able, well, maybe I could. Maybe I could just detach the back half of the laptop and do my spinny thing, and then that would work. That's crazy. Let's see what other programs are. Mortgage amortization. Amortization? I think I pronounced that wrong. Let's do Monopoly. There's an actual game on here. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there. Okay, let's, can we escape out of that? No, okay. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm really curious to see what this looks like, hopefully in color, because I feel like we're missing some stuff because the screen is kind of jacked. So I'm gonna hook it up to my Tandy CM11 and we'll just see what we get there. All right, so we got the Tandy CM11 set up and connected to the external port on the Snap here. I'm just using the Tandy 1000SX. It's sitting on top of basically as a base for now. And yeah, we just got to fire it up. We're going to have to change the BIOS setting, so we'll do that first. And then it should just switch over. Nice. Nice and sharp too. I still can't believe this monitor has survived transport all the way from the States in a box that had like this much packing around it. You just never know. All right, so here we are at the menuing system again. We can see we've got some color there. So I feel like the LCD just can't handle certain colors in the spectrum, and that's why we're not seeing things. Anyway, let's take a look at word processing and see what that looks like in color, if there is any. I just gotta love those inspirational quotes in red. All right, let's open up Write. And by the way, this is Symantec Q&A for reference. And I think it's just kind of a basic Office suite type thing. So let's see if we can type. Yeah, and we got color, obviously, blue. Yeah, I mean, that seems to work just fine. Keyboard is really nice to type on. Now, I did say we were gonna do some digital archaeology here, so I'm gonna try and open up a file, and it looks like it must be get, which is an unusual terminology. Usually you see load. And yeah, we're just gonna see like who might have owned this thing. Yes. ABC Realty, Dale A. Cummings, Realtor. Congrats on the sale of your property. Yada, yada, yada. It's definitely real estate themed. Ronald L. Lewis. Okay. Look forward to meeting with you next Wednesday at 3:30. You can feel confident our firm can help you to obtain the highest market value in the shortest possible time. Yeah, this is definitely seeming like a realtor laptop. Whether these are real people or just examples, I can't really tell you. But I feel like if it was real, it's probable that this laptop would have belonged to the whole office as opposed to an individual person. Let's try opening another file just for... I've seen two different names so far, so I'm starting to be skeptical that this belonged to any one person. Let's see. Certainly a real estate firm could have used a portable. Realtron Multilist. This is a simulation for demonstration purposes. Okay. That's quite the downgrade from Realtor.com. Let's look at Monopoly now, because I'm curious if that was working all along. Yeah, I mean, there you go. That is Monopoly. And I do seem to remember this particular version. And I've landed on just visiting. Yeah, that sounds about right for what we're doing today. And I can't figure out how to get out of it, so I'm just gonna Control-Alt-Delete. Yeah, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and fire up the Landmark speed test program, which is kind of my gold standard for testing the speed of these things. I'm expecting it's gonna perform kind of like a low-end AT. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy the Landmark utility directly to the hard drive because I wanna see if it writes properly. And first, I've gotta remember how to use DOS. All right, here we go. Calculating. Yeah, more or less what I predicted, 6 megahertz AT, NEC V20, CGA graphics, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really exciting there. Just for the heck of it, I'll lower the speed on the CPU just to see what that comes out as. Take it out of turbo mode. Yep, pretty much exactly half. Okay, so now I'm going to do a benchmark of my own. I'm going to put some games on here, just a couple, and we'll just see how they run. So the first one I always like to put on is Test Drive, because that's a good period correct game, and you can see how CPU handles that. You can see how the hard drive handles copying a larger volume of files. Just listen to those melodious sounds. Oh, I like that. That's the sound of a hard drive working that shouldn't be working. Well, that took a little while. Let's see how it runs. Yeah, it's gonna be CGA. Okay, so that's running all right. And that is under DOS 2.11. Yeah, it's a little choppy. Oh, okay. That's it. I'm gonna try speeding things up a little bit. Yeah, it does seem a little faster. The only thing I don't like about this laptop is the numeric keypad being up here, because I tend, when I'm playing games, to rest my palm on something. And of course I can't do that here because it messes up the game. So I have to kind of hold my hand way up. Yeah, that's definitely smoother. Here comes the Car of Doom. That truck passed. All right, well, that's test drive. So that kind of gives us an idea as to what it can do. Now, there is one final thing I'm curious about with this laptop, which is the built-in RAM disk feature. I'm pretty sure it takes RAM from the system RAM when you use it, but I'm just curious if it works. I want to see if I can get it to boot off of the RAM disk like it's supposed to be able to. So what we'll do is we'll do a reset, and then we'll go into the config program. I'm going to make the RAM disk active, but I'm not going to make it boot from RAM disk because I think it will cause it to hang probably. Select 360K format RAM disk. I guess I have two options. I can do 720 or 360. I'm going to choose 360 because we don't have 720 available. I've kind of forgotten how the whole RAM disk thing works. I seem to remember you had to load a driver on other machines, but I'm wondering if you have to do that on this one, since this is kind of an integral part of how this is supposed to work. Okay, so, I don't know, let's see if F-disk sees it. No, it's only seeing one drive, so that's, is it a different drive letter? It's not D. It's probably not A. What about B? Nope. Okay, that's not working. I must have missed something. Let's reset here. So it is enabled. I've selected the drive. Huh. Okay, let me switch back. So I'm definitely missing something here. Do not boot from RAM disk. Select 360K format RAM disk. Use pre-selected RAM disk size. Hard disk is installed. Yeah, I'm not sure. Try selecting RAM disk size. Ah, okay, here we go. You can use these keys to increase. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see there, but 360, let's say. So it's like a floppy disk. Okay, and hit enter key when setup is correct. Better. Okay, so there we can see we've got a 360K RAM disk now. I suppose I could read through the manual, but the manual was surprisingly vague on a lot of things. Like, I was looking for an explanation as to what that second power port on the back was for, and it just says it's a second power port. Doesn't say, you know, what you would use it for. I'm guessing that power port, by the way, is probably for extra power to, you know, whatever external peripherals you plug into the machine in the expansion port or something like that. Okay, so let's try looking through drive letters again. Oh, we've got a drive B. All right, maybe that's what we're looking for. Okay, format B/S. I'm sorry, I don't have a drive B. Let's see if we can actually, yeah, no, we can write to it, so it's there. That's strange. I wonder if it's just not functioning properly. So I put in another DOS boot disk. This is a slightly newer DOS that somebody was kind enough to provide. This is the fellow that also provided me the manual. Thank you very much for that. So we'll just see. I don't know why it won't format and it won't copy the system over. You're supposed to be able to boot from the RAM disk with this thing. Okay. Okay, that looks a little more promising. No room for system on destination disk. Okay, A. Let's just format it. Oh, look how fast that's going. Oh, that's weird. Why is it coming up with 720K? That would be all the available system RAM plus. That's strange. Okay, so now in theory, I should be able to boot from it, right? All right. Boot from RAM disk. DOS must be on RAM disk. Absolutely. All right, let's see how fast that boots up. Oh yeah, that's way faster. But yeah, that's really strange. I don't know why it's reporting 720K because there isn't that much RAM in the system. And as far as I understand, it runs straight off the system RAM here. We don't have any boards installed. Well, let's see if we're operating with full RAM here. I'm just gonna copy stuff on there and fill the drive up, and then we'll see what it can do from there. This is more than 360K, so I don't know what's going on here. Oops, I got the landmark speed testing on this disk too. Okay, so yeah, we've now gone from 600 plus K free to 46K. So let's see if this thing can actually still run. Yeah, that's what's going on. So that makes sense to me. I still don't understand why I have it set for 360K and it's coming up at 720. I'm gonna have to read through the manual on that one. But yeah, that kind of concludes our little tour here of the Datavue Snap. Okay, so here we are with the Datavue Snap 1+1 all reconstructed again. I didn't bother to film that reassembly sequence because it's already been an hour, I think, of footage so far, and I didn't want to abuse you guys. So I just put it all back together here, and thankfully it's starting up no problem, so hopefully it'll stay that way for the long term. You know, I really wish I could have been able to demonstrate the front half of the laptop operating without the back half. That would have been really interesting to check out. And I think it would have made this thing something kind of special. But unfortunately, just a hunch, I think the board may never have actually been produced. When I've been looking at the power supplies, which are the most sequentially numbered part on these laptops, from the ones that have been for sale on eBay, it seems like the numbers are quite low, like in the low thousands. So I'm thinking this is one of those kind of vaporware situations where Datavue had a plan to bring out such a thing, but it maybe never quite got there. No Snap that I've seen come up on eBay, not that there's been that many, but the ones I have seen, I have not seen anything about them having the rare expansion board or anything like that. So I think that's kind of a dead letter. And that's unfortunate because that's really the only thing that makes the Snap stand out from most any other DOS compatible portable computer of the time. Price-wise, I would not have paid $4,000 for one of these things, especially if the expansion board was not included in that. Is it competitive, really, with other machines of the day? That's kind of hard to say. I mean, I was looking through old newspaper articles, and it looks like the Toshiba T5100, which is a favorite of mine, came out in late 1988, and that was a 386SX. And at that point, they were selling these machines for under $2,000. So that being said, you know, it is a nice little machine. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for being so patient. It's been a bit of a struggle getting this one done because number one, this turned out to be a much bigger project than I thought it was going to be. And number two, just having Christmas and holidays and a whole bunch of other things going on that kept breaking up production. Plus moving into a totally new space and trying to get that configured and sanitized for safe use. So yeah, I think now we're going to be in a position to start cranking out more videos. I'm just loving having this space that is entirely for this purpose and is not shared with anything else. I can just come in here and film when I want to, and then get right back the hell out and then just carry on with my day. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video, which I promise will not be too far off. And for the usual like and subscribe beg message, I'd like to turn it over to Crack Squirrel.
Crack Squirrel here. If you like this video, smack that like button. Wait, what? If not, smack the, what's it called? Dislike, yeah. What else? Patreon. Yeah, he has a Patreon or something. Crack Squirrel out.